Connecticut is one of the only states that tells the story of American architecture from our national origins to the present day, often with superb examples. This is the story of Beauty and the Beast. Built during the late 17th century, the Thomas Lee House in East Lyme is open to the public. While the raised panel work and some other features are from the later 18th century, many features of the house suggest the earliest style and technology of the building trades in Connecticut. 18th century mansions of the Connecticut Valley elite with their Baroque doorways became an iconic New England architectural form. The John Barker House, with its 1756 date embedded in the gable roof, is an example of the upper limits of what was possible in 18th century Connecticut. Asher Benjamin from Hartland and Windsor, Connecticut, was one of America's first professional architects. His first project was the Phelps Hathaway House in Suffield. Little is known about William Swift, the architect of the Solomon Rockwell House in Winstead, but it is one of the most painstakingly ornamented and embellished houses of its period in all of New England. New Haven-based architect Ithiel Town was one of the most influential practitioners of the profession in 19th century America. One of Town's protégés, Henry Austin, was an architect with a 40-year practice that reached all corners of Connecticut. He designed, among other things, helped design the Wadsworth Athenaeum building in Hartford, and was a practitioner of the Gothic style. The Lockwood Matthews in Norwalk is one of the great Second Empire mansions in America. Built in the mid-1860s by LeGrand Lockwood, it is famous for its Gilded Age interiors. With the advent of the Queen Anne and stick styles in the 1880s, architects began doing remarkable things with spatial forms and interior arrangements, also surface textures and materials. During this period, interest soared in the application of artistic treatments to traditional materials like glass, ceramics, iron, brass, and these houses were a showcase for what was possible in the technology of decorative design. The stripped-down lines of modernism and Art Deco took hold in Connecticut during the 1920s and 30s. Here are some masterpiece examples from Torrington and the Polish National Home in Hartford. Architect Philip Johnson of New Canaan, Connecticut, became one of the most famous architects of the 20th century. His famous glass house, now owned and operated by the National Trust, is one of the most popular icons of modernism in the United States. Louis Kahn was something of a lone wolf and one of the most respected figures in modern architecture. In the 1950s, he designed the Yale University Art Gallery and then doubled back to New Haven in the 1970s to design the Yale British Art Center, two masterpieces of American modernism. Connecticut architecture is not just defined by the great artistic masterpieces, but by the functions of daily life in a state with some very distinct traditions, agriculture being one of the most important. Founded by British Puritans in the 17th century, Connecticut also has one of the largest per capita Catholic populations in the country. Houses of worship dot our towns and are the landmarks that define our lives. Connecticut is divided into four distinct watersheds with streams and rivers that powered the early factories of the industrial age. These buildings are like cathedrals and some of the most haunting and revered landmarks of the industrial age. Almost from the beginning, Connecticut believed in education and public access to ideas and information. Our libraries are some of our most respected landmarks and became a platform for some of the most expressive design work of the 19th century. Our many distinguished colleges and universities engaged the great architects of their times to build campuses that are themselves works of art. Town halls in our larger cities also became a platform for civic embellishment. This is the Memorial Building in Rockville, Connecticut, a work of art. Then comes the beast. Urban renewal arrived in the 1950s, decimating our cities, creating suburban sprawl and leaving in its wake a trail of broken civic dreams. Rampant consumerism and celebrityism have left us wondering where are the ties that bind us to place, past, and community. Today we are rediscovering the power of place and reaffirming the role of architecture and design and community in forging a stronger, healthier, and more vibrant civic life. These are highlights of a program that looks at hundreds of buildings in every corner of the little state that could, telling the story of the American people through architecture and design. If you're interested in hearing the full version of this program, contact Bill Hosley at WNHOSLEY at SNET.net.